this episode, we'll be breaking down the full moon in Capricorn on June 29th. Let the games begin. Capricorn is a sign that makes us get serious about our lives, what our plan is, what our 10-year plan is, what legacy we're really building after all, where our loyalties lie, especially when it comes to family, when it comes to what we contribute back into the physical realm through our work, through our personal connections as well, which is where Cancer is a part of this sign. And we are in Cancer season right now, and that's why we have the full moon in Capricorn. So it's a time in which we feel naturally inclined to water our relationships closest to us, to build a nest egg financially, to have safety, to have security, to have a home, to have resources, to have community, to have a connection to the land and to the people. And there's this primal instinct Cancer has that Capricorn also has in a sense, but they play out in very different ways, in opposite ways, as opposite signs. And so there's this need, as with any full moon, to unify this energy, right? Because we have this ability right now to really build our network through relationships and be very strategic relationally in a way that can really impact our career. And we might not see the results right now. Like, this is an active growing season that we are in this summer and into the fall. I feel like summer 2026, fall 2026, and winter 2026, 2027 are all about actively growing in new ways and kind of branching off of existing projects or things that were already started. And there's something so beautiful about that, right? When I think about like a tree, a family tree, that could signify the next generation even. There's this feeling in the air that there's this kind of turnover, right? There's this changing of the guards, and that also has to do with the transfer of wealth back into the people. And as much as the mainstream media does not want us to believe that this is happening, I do believe that it is, because we have Pluto in Aquarius. We also have Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and this is the vibe for the next few years. So hold on tight, moon doggy, as they used to say in Thomas the Tank Engine, if you guys ever watched that as kids. You have to hang on tight, because it's a wild ride ahead of us. We've only just begun. I heard the party's just begun, Cheetah Girls. But what did I say in the beginning? Let the games begin. There is a darkness here. There is something that can invoke fear. And I'm not going to say, oh, it's no, don't worry about it. Like, because there is a lot of things to worry about, to be frank. I'm feeling it too. I think collectively we're all having a little bit of a 9 of Swords moment as we exit June and go into July. And that's what I'm saying. Like, Capricorn makes things a little bit serious. It can make things a little bit heavy, similar to how Scorpio does. And Cancer also has that quality of being very heavy. But I think with Cancer, it has an easier time of getting it out and using that as a bridge to connect with other people or even just other things or environments to give us peace. Whereas Capricorn can really bottle up a lot inside. It's very much like a tough it out energy. So right now we're seeing where we need to tough it out and where we need to have a little bit more ternura, tenderness. That's Cancer. The tough it out is Capricorn. And they're both valid, right? But it's that integration, that balance piece that I've been channeling the past couple of days with the moon in Libra, that really is, I don't know, just something I keep getting drawn back into. Is like, when you have balance, you have everything else. You don't need to wish for other things, because if you have equilibrium, everything naturally just kind of arranges itself for you. It's quite impeccable. I feel like we are headed toward murky waters. And I think some of us are like, again, when we hear that, because we've already been through some murky waters earlier this year and even years prior. But the astrology of this year very much feels like a finale and a new beginning all at once. I think that the 9-year energy of the year of the snake, like, it's still running right now, it feels like, or trying to run. Like it's like the snake is still trying to assert its power, but we've ascended so much that we just see it on the ground now, and we're like, we know how to charm you, we know how to deal with you. We're in the horse energy now. We're free to roam. That's what I wrote my song Unbridled Horse about. Unbridled horse against an indigo sky, somehow you'll make it on your own. It's a very run free and go with it kind of energy this year, while also really challenging us. Like, how much do you want your freedom? How much do you also care about the freedom of other people? And how much are you willing to not be selfish for the sake of, like, just communal, collective good? There's that tension I think we're stepping into right now, especially with that theme, because we have Jupiter going into Leo at the same time. So there's like a lot that's like, boom, different. This is new. This is a new factor. Bada bing, bada boom. And yet it doesn't, it's weird because it's like, it feels very sudden, but it also feels like a long time coming. So the tension here, we have this need, this dire need to survive collectively with Pluto and Aquarius, meaning that right now our human rights are under attack, and some more than others. But we have to start seeing that we all have that in common, more than what we're trained to believe in, right? Because a lot of the things that we believe in, like, these are my beliefs, these are my core values. It's ingrained in us in a way that can be very biased, and we don't realize it. And I think right now we're having to kind of humble thyself a little bit and listen more to each other. Listen. You will gain so much knowledge and therefore power. And that's what people don't realize. They think that in order to be in power, they have to be, controlling the narrative and the attention and all of that and commanding that. But I think the new hero, or the new, like, Lord of Power or whatever in this era, is going to be someone who is willing to kind of take a step back, listen, and not always try to have the answers to everything, but remain curious about what's different or newly possible in this timeline that wasn't before. And there's going to be these disruptive moments that facilitate that. It's not just going to be like, this is exciting and new, yay. It's going to also feel like, and I'm having to say goodbye to this, or all of a sudden that changed. New deck of cards, right? But you're still you, and God is still God. And that relationship that you have with God, yes, it can grow and it can evolve, but it's always there, whether or not you embrace it. And we can turn our back on God so many times, but it doesn't erase his presence in our lives and divine orchestration and the power of the above, the power of God, the power of his divine realm that he has created for us. It's really incredible when we feel this connection of faith, not just in God, but also in each other. And that's what Cancer is speaking a lot on, is that pureness, right? Because Cancer is the first water sign. So there's a pureness that Cancer has that I feel like doesn't fully exist in Scorpio or Pisces. Cancer isn't the type to be shady. Capricorn might be shady, depending on the situation. But Cancer energy is only going to be shady unless it truly is, like, not conscious that it's being shady. You know what I mean? Cancer, I mean, I'm not saying Cancer, like every single Cancer sun sign. I just mean in general, this is the quality of this sign. I feel it has something that's very authentic, that's very true and altruistic. I think it has that in common with Sagittarius, actually, which is why Jupiter, Sagittarius's planet, does quite well in Cancer. I am personally going to miss Jupiter in Cancer. I feel like Jupiter in Cancer has been a lot of like strolling down memory lane for me and really appreciating what is familiar and what is safe and easy in a sense, right? Like what just naturally kind of flows. And I think Jupiter in Leo for me is going to really shift that into just feeling like I really value showmanship, and not just when it comes to like artistic performance, but like showing up for other people, like showman, like I'm appearing kind of energy with Jupiter in Leo. I think that we're going to also have more interest in performing arts, music, concerts, movies, social events. I think there could also be some efforts to try to get people to not go out as much. And I feel like people are not really into that anymore. We're kind of like reminded that sometimes it feels like we are at the will of the evil people controlling everything. And I laugh because it's so not a part of God's kingdom, even though this is a part of God's plan right now. Somehow we are being called to rise right now and just see past it and realize that they can try so hard to lock us down, to stop us from knowing the truth and communicating with each other. They could try so hard to divide us and isolate us, but we always have this vontade, this will within us as human beings to connect no matter what. Like, even if we're stranded on a desert island, we're going to be connecting with the nature, and heck, we might even pull a Tom Hanks and make ourselves an imaginary friend out of something, because we need that connection to source. And you can say it's this or it's that, but I feel like we're channeling source, we're channeling like our higher selves even in those connections. Because when I think about the Lovers card, right, it's not just the two people coming together, which is where I think we get it wrong as a society. It's really about the angel, the divine, God's energy that's bringing the people together, right? And we focus so much on who the other person is and when it's going to happen and how it's going to happen and what the life is going to look like and all this stuff that has to do with the 3D. And we focus on that first a lot of times when we approach dating in modern culture. But I think that really we don't realize that all we need to do is get close to God. And once we're close enough to God, the divine partner, the divine unionship is going to be there. We don't have to go looking for it. We don't have to go chasing after it. We don't have to really put in all of this anxiety and effort. We just have to draw close to God. And this Cancer energy, it can feel like it's like, oh, it's kind of simple. Like you just say, oh, just get close to God, but you don't realize how hard it is. Like, I do. Trust me. And sometimes it feels like when we are active in our faith that things actually get harder for us. And that's not because we're wrong for being on that path. It's because now that we're on that path, we're seeing very clearly the things that we've built our life around that we can no longer continue to build them around. Again, it's that simple. Like Cancer energy, even Capricorn energy, it's going to keep it a buck. It's going to be straightforward. It's not going to give you yes and this, but, and you know, this whole runaround answer. It's going to be pretty clear. It might take a little while to deliberate on the decision, right? There might be hermit crab mode that's initiated, especially with Cancer. But once it's decided, it's decided. And it's, you know, pretty self-explanatory in a sense. So there's something about this moon where there is something that's self-explanatory that we're seeing very clearly now, but there might also be more to it because of the Mercury retrograde. And I feel like we're going to have a lot of like, this is one of those Mercury retrogrades where it starts out like fine and dandy, but then it's like, Well, I don't want to say it starts out fine and dandy, because I would say pretty soon into it, we already have the Mars-Uranus conjunction, which is really gonna, like, I'm already feeling it. Like, I feel like there's, like, earthquakes. I don't know. There's something that's, like, brewing right now. I don't know what it is exactly, but it just feels like something very, like, unexpected and disruptive is about to happen. And it's like the more I try to tap into what it's going to be, it's like the more in my mind's eye, it's like I just see like a blurred vision of like a train going by, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what that means. And it's almost like the divine is saying, don't focus on it then. You're not meant to see it. That's Uranus for you, right? If you know Uranus, you know Uranus. So, you know, us Aquarians, we kind of understand this because we're very haphazard. You know, we can very much switch it up at the drop of a hat. And sometimes it leaves the other person like, what is wrong with them? But there's also a method to our madness, and whatever is about to happen, it just feels like big shock waves. I heard like it's going to make a big impact on the whole world, and it's not just going to be like a news story. It's going to be something that affects everybody's life in some way. So I'm feeling right now like more than ever, especially with all of these planets in Leo. We have Venus in Leo. Jupiter will be going into Leo. We're going to have those two hanging out there. And then, of course, in July, the sun will go into Leo. So it's going to be a very, like, Leo-dominated summer. And how it starts is very different from how it ends. So I'm getting that there's going to be a lot of twists and turns this summer. And I heard some of you guys say, oh, my God, I don't want to deal with that. I don't really want to deal with it either, to be quite honest. But it is what it is, right? We can't control the energy patterns and what's brewing, because we can all feel it, especially the 4th of July this year. It just feels, I don't know, it just feels different, right? And so I just want us to all be safe. I want us to all like be able to come together during these times and realize how much power we really do have. And that's something Pluto and Aquarius just keeps drilling. It's like, you guys don't even realize how lucky you are to be able to organize the way that you can. You guys have to stop letting them suppress you. I feel like the aliens from Pluto are telling that to me. They're like, hey, listen. There's life on Pluto, baby. You know, it's the underworld. It's a planet that symbolizes the underworld, and it's a very scary place to visit. And so I think sometimes we're afraid of organizing and of really leveraging our power because we're afraid of the backlash, of course. And that's something I think Saturn and Aries is also driving into us with this full moon. But it's also going to be a continued theme when Mercury stations direct on July 23rd. So like that mid to last week of July is going to feel like we're being stopped. Stop. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Right? It's like a very like... And I feel like right now we're just kind of like, what is that even going to be? Why am I going to get stopped, right? And it's like, don't think too far ahead with this Mercury retrograde, because I feel like things are just going to keep changing. So it's kind of like a day-by-day energy. And I feel like some of you guys might be getting this message and you're like, but I want to be more like, I don't know, like some of you guys are bored with the day-to-day. And I get it. But I also feel like in the day-to-day, there's something that's going to be found. Like, this is the Gemini energy of Mars and Gemini, right? It's like in going out for your little coffee or your walk or going to your favorite class or gym or whatever, like just doing your day-to-day activities and errands, picking kids up from school, whatever, just going out and about, you're not going to realize that there's like some sort of conversation or interaction that's going to spark a major change for you, or that's going to coincide with a major change. It just feels like it's important for us to not think too much about what this is going to be on the other side of it. To just fully be present and to really listen. Again, listen, observe, don't react right away. It will be tempting to react right away because Mars conjunct Uranus can be very sporadic behavior. It will be very tempting to have a quick knee-jerk reaction. But the tongue is truly a sword and can be weaponized. What you say can be weaponized against you or people you love. So it's kind of just like protect that. Protect information. Be vigilant with your words because they can really impact people for the better or for the worse. Our words really do matter, and they're not things that we can take back because they're imprinted into memories. And so if you lash out and you say something really hurtful, that's always going to be imprinted into the memory of that person when they think of you. And so when that happens, again, we can't take it back, but we can try to make it right by creating new memories with the person and recreating a sense of trust. And this is how we repair things. This is how we work on things, right? This full moon coming up is really reminding us that we're in need of some serious repairs in certain areas of our lives. And you can even think about where Capricorn is in your particular chart and what house that is, or which houses it covers. This moon will be at the 8th degree of Capricorn, depending on what house system you use. So that might tell you a little bit more about that specifically, but it's also important to look at the opposite end of what's going on in Cancer, what's going on in Leo and Aquarius as well, because those are also parts of the conversation, as well as the Mars-Uranus transit in Gemini and Jupiter going into Leo. These are really the most active signs, and I think it's an interesting checkpoint with this full moon in Capricorn because there's been a lot of that personal sign energy, right? Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer. Now we're moving into Leo, so things are becoming interpersonal. But still, Leo can be very focused on the self at the same time. And so this Capricorn full moon coming in is this reminder that what we're building is not just about us. It's about the future generations. Even if we don't plan to have children, what we do here does matter. And I think that's where we get it wrong, is that we think that just because we are very, very small in comparison to the entire universe, that our time here on Earth, well, whatever, I'm just meant to be here to have a good time and make the money that I can, and that's it. And we don't have any faith, we don't have any purpose, we don't have any reason or intention or why behind what we do. It's just about those superficial things. That's when, I don't know, I think that's how the world got to be how it is today, actually, that kind of attitude. And I'm not blaming people because I know that that's how a lot of us are just conditioned to be. But it definitely feels like this is a period of unraveling. And it will take time to find the next thing, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't start now, because what we're committing to now really will define what happens next, and it will shape things for many years to come, not just for our own lifetimes. So it's not to scare anyone, it's not to put pressure on anyone, but that's what Capricorn does, is it keeps it real with us. It does put things into perspective and reminds us that we have to take certain things more seriously in life. We have to be more disciplined with certain things. And maybe there's other things that we need to be less strict about, but we still need to have that level of discipline always. Okay? I love you guys. Thank you for listening to this message about the full moon. And next time, I think I want to talk more about definitely Jupiter going into Leo and the opposition with Pluto. And I think Mercury retrograde will also just be a part of the conversation as we keep chatting through the rest of this month, July, and even into August with the post shadow. So Mercury retrograde's not really going anywhere for a long part of the summer. Lucky us, but I've come to kind of embrace Mercury retrogrades as actually really beautiful times for healing. So, and just reimagining as well. Okay? So I love you guys. Take care.